quite over yet. There is work to be done in the garden. That's why Rob Haswell is standing by with Sharon Morrissey from UW Extension. They're out there working on this Labor Day. Good morning.
Yes, indeed. It's a labor of love, though, out here in the garden, obviously. And we're talking about apples. Teeny tiny little apple tree here, but it's doing quite well.
It is. This was only the third year for this. We planted it one year. Last year grew no flowers, no apples, quite a bit smaller.
Right.
And now this year we do have a few apples on it, and that was good. We didn't need to have too many on a young tree like this.
But it kind of weigh it down?
Yeah, in fact, there's a branch here that did have a few too many on it, and so it did weigh it down. But that isn't really hurting it, because the wider the angle of the branch to the main trunk, the more productive the stem is. And so they actually put spacer bars in between the stem and the branches when the tree is young to make those angles wider.
You mean like commercial farms or whatever the case may be?
Yeah, commercially, they definitely do that commercially, and you should do it in a home garden too.
Okay.
You can use little weights. Sometimes they actually make plaster of Paris in a cup, weights with a little wire hook on it.
To just kind of weigh it down?
Onto the stem.
And this one did it naturally with its own apples?
Yeah, the apples did it this year. So this variety we have here is called Red Free. And we chose all of our apple varieties based on their disease resistance. It is one of the worst problems in growing apples is to control the diseases. There are three major diseases: apple scab, rust, and fire blight. And they have selected lots of varieties that have good resistance to all three of those. Then all you have to worry about is the insects.
And I believe our insects are kind of taking over on this one here, huh?
Well, we had a few problems with insects, but only on the leaves. The laciness you see on these leaves is, many people are familiar with this now, Japanese beetle damage.
Right, right.
But it didn't do too much damage. There were still plenty of leaves here to nourish our apples. There are many apple pests that get into the apple, like
more than just the classic worm,
yeah. And then there's about 5 other ones.
Right, okay.
So we bagged a couple of these apples.
You literally put little bags around them, right, to keep them
Plastic
protected.
bags with a Ziploc, and we stapled them on.
So it's the clear bag, so the sun could still get through things.
Yeah. And it's plenty of space in there for the apple to grow. And we had then you take it off a little bit early to allow it for a couple weeks before you're going to harvest, to allow it to color up well.
And look how great
so
that
we
looks.
took these off a couple weeks ago. You can see that these are not quite as bright red yet, and I think that's because they were down here in the other foliage.
A little
and they
shaded.
didn't get enough sun.
But this guy's been getting the full-on sunshine, and it looks fantastic right now.
And when you harvest an apple, one of the tricks is apples grow on this little short spur, and that's the only place apples will grow on a tree. So you don't want to break those off. So you do what's called palming it. You put it in the palm of your hand, and you turn it upward, and it still came off.
Oh, bummer. But it's not supposed to. Right? You lift them off, they say. You don't pull them down.
Yank
right,
them off,
okay.
because then you're sure to take off the spurs. And the spurs really are the only place that the apples grow each year.
So there won't be an apple there next year, but hopefully we'll get some more spurs and some more apples.
Yeah.
All right, there you go. And these are great for discovering scientific principles, too. Just let it fall right on your head, and then you'll know. Gravity works.
And I can take an arrow to it, too.
Yeah, that's true. So many purposes other than pie. Who knew? We'll be back out here in the garden in about 20 minutes. Let's go inside now.
All right. Thank you.